to Stony Blair that makes you guilty of premeditated murder?
She raped my son. I intentionally killed her.
Control during a custody hearing. Boy, did she. She is fighting for the rights of her surviving children, and things got ugly in court real fast. Let's go live to 7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig.
Mitchelle Blair herself admits to killing her 2 children, and she is angry when she puts much of the blame on the children's 2 fathers. In a lightning bolt of emotion, Mitchelle Blair admits to killing her 13-year-old daughter, Stony Blair, because she believed the teen and her 9-year-old son, whom she's also accused of murdering, had been harming her youngest child. Blair is charged with their murders, but the trial that began today is about the state attempting to terminate Blair's parental rights to her 2 surviving children and terminate the rights of both fathers. An attorney for the state suggesting Stephen Berry and Alexander Dorsey are deadbeat dads who didn't care about any of their children until 9-year-old Stephen Berry and 13-year-old Stony Blair were found dead in their mother's freezer earlier this year. Investigators believe Blair killed little Stephen first in 2012 and put him in her freezer. Then they say a year later Blair killed her 13-year-old daughter. Prosecutors say her dad knew there was abuse.
What happens when your kids come to visit you in 2005?
Sister gave him a bath, seen whips on her back.
Who's seen whips?
My sister.
Your sister. Did you see these whips?
She showed them to me.
Are these long red marks?
No, they was healed up by the time I seen them.
Healed up. But do they appear to be long, like lines?
No, it's like slashes.
Another one of Mitchelle Blair's outbursts came as an attorney for one of the fathers was addressing the court.
So I asked the court not to be so inflamed by the mother's actions as to place those on my client. The allegations against my client, Mr. Berry, are failure to protect and abandonment.
And never being there for his kids.
Mother,
He was always on sex sites, though,
Mother,
right?
Mother, listen to me.
I had to beg you to come see me. For real?
Mother, listen to
No
me.
matter how much you lie or how your lawyers lie.
You done, Mother? Listen to me. This is a civil case. It's not a criminal case. We can and we will do it without you.
I never
We
tried to
will
say I
do it
didn't. I
without
did it,
you.
but that does not negate the fact that they were never there for their children. I had to struggle with them all the time. They were never there.
You get
Stephen,
your
you
chance.
know we had to beg you. Me, Stephen, all of us used to cry for you.
You're not going to be able to stay, Mother. There are rules.
And deputies had to take Mitchelle Blair out of the courtroom once again. And then there was also a moment when the judge was talking about Blair's youngest son, telling a social worker that he saw his mom kill his sister and brother. Blair then blurted out at that moment, quote, "He didn't see me kill Stephen because it was unintentional." The trial resumes tomorrow morning, and we will certainly be there. Reporting live in Detroit, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News. Back to you.
And Kim, she still wants custody of her children? Still?
Yeah, the two surviving children, she very much does still want to maintain custody of those children. She would say their names in courtroom, and she said after she would introduce herself, she would say, "I'm Mitchelle Blair," and she would say her children's 2 names, and she says that I will always be their mother, but she would not talk about the deceased children.
All right, Kim. Just a moment.
I don't even know this lady's lawyer, but I already love him. He reminds me of Kermit the Frog for some reason, but I think I would really enjoy hanging out with him. You know, he looks like he'd be a good basketball player too. That guy. Yeah. This case is crazy. Super crazy. And warning to anybody who is not prepared to hear some pretty graphic stuff. I've cut out anything that's, I think is too disgusting to be on my channel. But I left in a lot of the meat, so you can see exactly the truth. And the point is the media is pointless, they're useless. That's the whole entire point of this video, is to show how it has nothing to do with the case. Whatever they're telling you has nothing to do with the case. they're saying the mother wanted to still continue collecting child support, and she wanted to, get back at the fathers, and that's why she did it, blah, blah, blah. This video will show you the truth. It has nothing to do with the fathers. Yeah, after the fact, she was in an emotional hearing about family court and whether she was going to get custody of the other 2 children, and she was very, very emotional, and she's screaming and everything else. But that's not the reason that she did it. It has nothing to do with the reason she did it. That's after the fact. The reason was the sexual abuse. The fathers had nothing to do with the children at all until after they were found in the freezer. They didn't even know, for 2 years or something, they didn't have any idea what was going on. While he was in the freezer, I know he was in the freezer, I think, for like 9 months or something, maybe. However long it was, the fathers were not in the picture until after they were found. So, and also, as far as the abuse goes, from the daughter, it seems weird to me. Like, she had to have been abused herself, because, no normal little girl just turns into a monster like that girl. I mean, she didn't deserve to die by any means. But no normal girl, does those kind of things. She had to have been abused or something. I mean, that's obviously just my opinion. I mean, obviously I guess there are psychopaths and things like that, but that's, pretty rare. And it seems they were both pretty much monsters. So they needed help. They didn't need to die. They needed help. And their mother was not the one to provide it to them. And it's sad. It's extremely sad. And she still wants custody of the other 2 children, knowing that she's going to go to jail for the rest of her life. That's a little bit weird. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a really, really sad case. And I think the media, as I said, is just completely useless. They're twisting these stories and just creating their own narrations to sell the story. It's just like a little newspaper boy on the sidelines, trying to twist the story and sell his newspapers. They're just trying to twist the story and get viewers, or sell their newspapers, or sell their magazines, whatever it is. They're not telling you the truth. Whatever's going to sell the story, and it doesn't just apply to this case, it applies to everything. It's called propaganda. It's 1939 Germany all over again. And that's why, they're cracking down on the internet with, alternative news and all the rest of it. Because they're the real news, right? They're called the legacy media for a reason. Because they're old and pointless, right? It's a remnant of another era. We now have the internet. We now have the ability to communicate without needing them at all. And so, we need to, as a people, start focusing on the media. Look at what they're telling us. Look at the truth. Just like the collage video with Trump. I'm not going to get too much into that, but, it was kind of their own words. And what did they do? They freak out about the fact that he's, it's propaganda. That's not propaganda. When you use somebody's words back at them, that's not propaganda. When you twist them to try and manipulate their mind and make them think a certain thing, that's propaganda. Okay? So there's a difference. And, when it comes to the media, they're pointless. They're useless. And I know most people out there are smart enough to understand that. But really pay attention to this case. And really focus on what the media is telling you versus the truth of the situation. Okay? And finally, I just want to say that what this woman did is inexcusable. Absolutely inexcusable. And she just completely writes off her children as demons. And that's why she killed them. Which is, it's sad. It's incredibly sad. They did have issues, but they needed help, like I said. They did not need to die. She deserves to be in prison for the rest of her life. But it's mothers like this who are just letting their children do whatever they want. And, I mean, they were 9, 13, and 6 or something like that. And then they had an older sister named, or that was like 17 maybe. But the mother, wasn't being a mother. She was just being a other roommate in the house. Not really paying attention to anything that's going on. I mean, unless she wanted to. you know. And so, I mean, you can guarantee in my children, if something like this was happening, it would be discovered immediately. It would never happen, but I mean, if it were, you know, it would be discovered very quickly, not go on for years and years. And so, you know, it's too bad that they couldn't get the help that they needed. It really is. And, you know, this woman does deserve to spend the rest of her life in jail, but she also is a human being herself, and she as well deserves to be heard. So, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let her tell her story. Thank you for watching.
What did you do to Stony Blair that makes you guilty of premeditated murder?
She raped my son. I intentionally killed her.
How did you do that?
Starting from the beginning, when I found out about what Stony was doing to Matthew, it was 9 months later after finding out about Stephen. So for the whole 9 months we were in the house, she was still raping my child. I did not know that. When I first found out, after Maddie told me, I took a minute because I was not understanding, you know, that she did that to him. But I repeatedly punched her. On many occasions, my son, I told him to tell me every single thing that she did to him. So as she was telling me, he was telling me more and more things that she did. I assaulted her every time he told me what she did to him. By assault, I mean I punched her. I had put a bag over her head till she lost consciousness. I threw hot water on her, scalding hot water from the faucet.
Did you hit her in the head with a wooden
Yes,
stick?
I hit her in her head multiple times, over and over.
Was that shortly before she died?
That was actually days before she died and the day she died.
Okay.
I hit her on her back. It's like on her tailbone. I kicked her.
Okay, I just want to clarify a few things. And perhaps you don't know, but did this happen on or about May 25th, 2014? To the best of your
May
recollection?
25th is actually the day she died, or the day I killed her.
And you said you killed her by putting a grocery bag over her head?
Yes, that day, Maddie would tell me different things because he was doing this to him for years, and I did not know that. You get what I'm saying? And I didn't find out till 9 months later. She had started with Stephen. She ruined my son, okay? She started with Stephen before he even started. So, yes, I put a bag over her head, but it got worse that day. Yes, I did. It got worse that day because Matthew would tell me how she would take her pad, her menstrual. I understand people don't want to hear me, period, but I'm going to take it on
I'm listening to
everything.
you. Tell me what happened to Stephen.
I came home one day. My daughter Gabrielle, my oldest, met me at the door, and she's like, "Mom, come see what Maddie doing with his dials." And I'm like, "What is he doing?" He was making one dial, his little wrestle man, hump on top of the other. No, I'm like, "Maddie, why was you doing that?" I said, "Anybody ever do this to you?" He said, "No." I said, "Why are you doing that?" And he said, "Yes, Stephen did." And I was like, so this is the first I'm hearing about that, period. This was 9 months before Stony. Okay, Stony wasn't downstairs, and she was always in the background. I wish to God I had questioned everybody together, but I didn't.
Would you say this was around August 30th, 2012?
No, this was before August 30th. August 30th is when he died.
Okay.
This was maybe a week and a half.
Before he died?
Yes.
Okay. So that, Matthew telling you that set off some action?
Yes, I went upstairs because Stephen was upstairs in his and Matthew's room. And I went upstairs and I said, "Stephen, Matthew said you was humping on him." And then Stephen stood up and he looked at me, and right then I could tell something was wrong in his face because he was just like this. Any normal kid, I know my kid would have been like, "What?" That's not what he did. He stood up and looked at me like he had lost his mind. Okay? And it just hearing that from him. So yes, I made that boy drink Windex.
I'm just trying to clarify the record. Okay, again, you knew you were seriously harming him, but you didn't intend to murder him.
No.
Okay. But your actions ultimately caused his death.
Yes, they did.
3 Were you Stephen's mother?
Yes.
He was in your custody?
I don't claim him as my son now, and I do not claim Stoney as my daughter. I have 2 children, that's it. Stephen and Stoney are demons, period.
Listen to my question. At the time he died, he was in your custody or care?
Yes.
How old was he?
Stephen was 9.
And again, did this happen at your house in the city of Detroit?
Yes.
What you did to Stephen was punishment for what you did to Maddie, is that right?
For what he did to Maddie.
Sorry,
Yes.
for what Stephen did to
Yes.
Maddie. That was punishment.
And if I had killed Stephen intentionally, I definitely would be proud to say I did. But I didn't. But I know all the things that I did to him, how I hurt him, I know it did cause his death. You know what I'm saying? It was like that day, the day that he died, I went in his room, it was straw up in front of him on the bed. I got him up, he said he had to go to the bathroom, but he couldn't use the bathroom. By the time he came out the bathroom, his breathing was crazy. Stephen usually has a strong heartbeat, but it was really faint, really faint, and then all of a sudden, he just started going like this, and I was holding him. We were both sitting on the floor, and I'm actually holding him up. He couldn't even hold himself. I'm like Stephen, doing like this, because the day before that, I actually said I was. They had their hands in Matthew, and they controlled him in every type of way, down to food. They would take his meat, basically. We didn't always eat together. I thought him and Stephen was very close, so Stephen would manipulate me. Mom, can me and Maddie eat up in our room? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I'm thinking that's his best friend, that's his brother. That's how he made his thing. But that's a lie. He kept Matthew up under his wing on purpose. Matthew never wanted to be around Stephen, and I don't know how I didn't see that. So they would take his food, it would actually only let him eat his vegetables. So yes, when I fed Stephen, he only got vegetables and like healthy things, and it was minimal, like oatmeal and things like that. He did not get meat. He stole from my son, and actually when I tried to feed him, my son Matthew said, Mom, that's bold. They used to take my food all the time, that's bold. You get what I'm saying? So yes. Now Stoney, I did starve her. I did. The worst thing you can ever do to somebody is break them. I always told my son that, and I always told the girls, the worst thing you could do is cry rape on somebody if they didn't rape. They fully knew what they were doing.
So you were only intending physical punishment?
Yes.
All right, now, just so that I'm clear, you weren't allowing them to treat your other children like this, were you?
What do you mean?
You weren't allowing them to sexually assault.
No, I wasn't allowing that. I never knew.
That's exactly,
you get what I'm saying?
That's exactly what I wanted to know. You didn't know until afterwards.
It's like...
Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just one instance, I was asleep. I said, Matthew, why you didn't tell me? He said, Mom, I even went in the hallway and I had your hand. I was asleep. My son ran out and grabbed my hand. He was 6 and he was doing like this, trying to wake me up. Stephen was grabbing him back by the back of his shirt, pulling me, and I said, Matthew, why did you just scream out? He said, I don't know. You get what I'm saying? He even had my hand pulling on me, trying to wake with my other 2. I definitely didn't want to lose Gabby and Matthew. And I definitely knew. I was definitely about to leave Matthew after that just happened, but I called the police and I'm asking them in the case where it's one brother that's been raping the other, what can be done? Will they take both kids out of the home? And he said, well, actually, yes, they would take both kids out of the home, but this is a case for CPS. And they said, did that happen to you? And I said, no, it's actually a friend. He said, the best thing I can do is tell you to call CPS and they can guide you further on what to do. And they said, but basically it has to be an investigation, so both will be taken out of the home. You get what I'm saying?
I understand.
And how they manipulate, I was their mother. So if they can manipulate me, no. No. And I was not letting Stoney go anywhere. I'm glad. I actually was going to turn myself in right after Stephen died. And I told him I was going to turn myself into the police. I got to go turn myself in. And he said, turn yourself into what? And I said, Matthew, turn myself into the police. That means I got to go because I killed somebody. And then he said, I don't want you to go. When he said that, that was it. So I put Stephen in the freezer and I said, I'm going to stay with my kids as long as possible. And I'm glad I did, because if I had not have done that, I would not have found out about Stoney. You see what I'm saying? So everything happened how it was meant to happen.
So it's a sad story. I left a lot of details out. Some things I just don't want on this channel. It's sad. It's horrific. Those children needed help, not a murdering mother. But we've learned. The media and what they're telling you is nothing to do with this case at all. Those children needed help. This woman was the mother who was the high school bully, right? And instead of protecting those two children, though they needed help, she protected her other two children from her other two children and murdered them. It's horrific. It's so sad. Like, any parent, no matter what my children did, there's not a time, ever, that I would hurt them, let alone murder them. No matter what you did. That's called love. Right? Unconditional love. No matter what you do, I'm still your parent. I still love you. But depending on your own actions, might be, deeper levels of justice. Maybe I may never see you again, but I still love you. Whatever the case is, there's no reason in the world to murder your children. None. That's what police are for. That's what CPS is for, is to solve these kinds of issues. But we have people all over this country ready to just solve their own issues because they don't trust the police, they don't trust the this, they don't trust the that. You know why? Because of the media. The media. The media is useless. We need to get rid of them. We could save so many lives just by getting rid of the media. And then if we tried to better ourselves as a society, imagine where we could go. Right? Ultimately, though, what matters is that you people understand. You were given your mind and your brain for a reason. Don't just trust what people tell you. If you don't know something, say, I don't know. Don't trust what somebody tells you. Don't trust me. Look into it. And if you, like I said, if you don't know, then say you don't know and I'll get back to you. Something. But do not blindly trust the media. Just because, they all say the same thing. Guess what? They're all owned by the same 6 families. Not in a conspiracy way, but I'm just saying in a literal way. There's 6, 6 companies, families, individuals that own all, like 96% or something like that, of the media. So if you don't think that, just like George Carlin said, if you don't think that those people get together and decide what they want to put out together, what's the result of that? Society going, oh, well, they're all saying the same thing, it must be true. Come on, people. Think for yourselves. Think for yourselves. This is your world, your reality, your life. Think for yourselves. Get over it. I'm so tired of the freaking media. And every lemming I meet in my life, when I have a different opinion, when I have something that maybe is a little bit contradictory, and it's just, I'm the conspiracy theorist, I'm the this. Well, no, I'm a reasonable person, thinking logically, knowing that the media is all in cahoots. Think for yourselves. Don't attack people for their thoughts. Don't attack people for their beliefs. Listen to them. Listen to them. This case is insane, and this woman deserves to be in jail for the rest of her life. Ultimately, God will judge. God will make sure that justice is served. But we as individuals need to understand. We are all given our own brains. We're all given our own ability, our own person, to decide how to live our lives. Use it. Don't let somebody else run your life. Don't let somebody else live your being. Thank you for watching. I love all of you very much. Peace out.